always this thing that people always say, you must find your dream, find your heart, follow your heart. Look, my feet can lead me better than my heart. It can bring me places. My heart only gives me anxiety. So walk the walk, talk the talk.
Can you walk us through your journey of your career?
Career. Career is something that you plan. That you plan what you want to be, where you want to be, at what time of your age you want to be. I can't say I have a career because I never planned for it. So when I started in finance and I found out that's not my thing, I don't think I can live a life in finance line, especially in auditing. So the temporary job I got at that time was in tourism, and that temporary job lasted me 13 years. So from there, the next, logical evolution would be to venture anywhere around the tourism hospitality line, and that's where after tourism I went into hotels, uh, series of hotels, different types of hotels, big hotels, small hotels. In between, I took a break. I went into food and beverage, in food service as well. Uh, Again, in between, I took time off to, believe it or not, to give lectures in university on marketing, and everything. But at the end of the day, if I were to say which line really defined me the most, would be hospitality and hotels.
It's good. So, actually, what inspired you to pursue this hospitality?
Okay, anyone who goes into tourism or hospitality, the most common cliche that you always hear is that, oh, because I get into this business because I love to meet people. I don't. I cannot handle people's antics most of the time. But why I enjoy is because hospitality and tourism is the place that I know, or probably the only one that I know, where you create the experience, you create a dream, you create a holiday, and a lot of the stuff that goes around it, from where people had an amazing stay in your resort or amazing experience in their tours or and travel. A majority part of it are intangible. They are not the bed that you book or the room or the car that you're in, but the many experiences that is put into one. And that part is amazing. To me, it's amazing. It's part of creation, actually.
Good. So, what if you were not in the hospitality industries? What others alternate career that you will pursue?
Yeah, at my age, if I still don't know the answer, it only means that I'm still here in hospitality and tourism. But there's also parts of me that, when I grew up as a kid, I never liked any music instruments. Yeah, I dread the days when if anyone send me to piano classes, for example. But I like music, the creation of music. I'm the different instrument making different sounds. So the part that I like the most is to be the conductor, where you put everything together, and that's where the journey that you bring your listeners to is not to one instrument, but the many instruments that create the whole evening, the whole repertoire, for example. So maybe as a musician, I don't know. But at the same time, I love history as well. Like what H.G. Wells say, that if we can travel back to time, if only the pyramids can speak, what stories would have said? That, yeah, that intrigues me. I like history as well.
I think you should venture into that direction. It suits your personality.
Probably.
Yep.
Probably.
And then another question for you is, what are the interesting facts or any tips and tricks from your industry? Since you have so many years of experience in this hospitality.
Um, in terms of staying in the resort or go on holiday on tours and things like that, um, I've done a lot of traveling, um, multiple continents, many countries. I enjoy traveling. At first, I'm not a traveler. I'm just a sightseer. I just want to go there, sightsee, take some pictures, and prove to everyone else that I was there. But that all changed because you missed a whole big level in terms of travel. Because when you are a traveler, you not only see whatever the best that people will offer, but you will see culture, you see people, languages, food, you see everything else what the normal day-to-day people go through when they're in that destination. And most people miss that nowadays, especially so when most who travel nowadays actually they don't travel. I mean, they just bring the device with them. They spend more time taking video in the Louvre Museum of how many people queuing up to watch Mona Lisa. But I'm very sure most of these people don't even get to ask the question. So what's so special about Mona Lisa's smile? Because they don't see, they're more concerned, did I get the light correct? Did I have this picture? Because all they want is social media. So they didn't travel for themselves, they travel for social media. So if I were to give a tip and advice, immerse yourself in the place. Wherever you go, I mean, take your pictures, take your videos. Uh, the amount of time that you spend to do that, spend the same amount of time with the device switch off.
Yeah, I should have known this much more earlier.
Before you interview me.
Yeah. Okay, good. So when it comes to the topics of leadership philosophy,
Right.
since you have so many years of experience in managerial positions in hospitality industry, so how would you describe your leadership style?
Okay. I have to be careful in what I say about this because it depends on which school of thoughts in terms of leadership you're coming from. If you go online, there are many books that you can look in any bookstore about leadership style. There are many names, many labels that come with it. One thing I learned in life is this: be relevant, and by being relevant at the given place and time and space and the people that you have with you and what you have to work with, I realized I need to wear different hats with in different situations. There are times where you have to be the visionary person, uh, and but there are also times that you have to be the builder. Okay, so you have one that's visionary, who's maybe, I don't know, Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk and things like that. There are times to be that, but there are also times where you are just a builder that nobody will remember your name, but you make things happen so that that vision can be achieved. And so most of the time I'm a builder, but because of my job scope being, especially when you are pre-opening a resort, okay, when you're opening a hotel, it is not easy to be a leader commanding, I don't know, a group of people and tell them this is how the result will look like. And not only this is how it look like, but this is the experience, what it's like to say no. Because why? They can't taste it. They can't see it. All they can see is construction sites, right? So there's only so much that you can tell them what the vision is going to be, what the experience is going to be. So in a way to be, I will be more relevant to the people I work with by building the expectation, by building an experience that they can relate when the resort is ready. For example, if you open a spa and this spa is very special, like it's a Hawaiian massage or whatever kind of thing, I'm building it. You have no clue what I'm talking about. You've never been to Hawaii,
Yes.
right? And you never even think using pineapple as part of the ingredients for a spa.
Yeah.
You will never know what I'm talking about. All you know is that he's a bit up there. So what I can do is that I can bring you to a spa experience and then to an experience that where pineapple plays a part, which may not be in the spa. It could be in a restaurant. And then it's okay, now combine all together. That's what it's almost going to be like. Almost, not there yet, almost. Why almost? Because when this is completed, you guys are gonna make it even better. So most of my role is builder. I build with what I have. Yeah. Especially if you work in countries where the general associates or colleagues that you have never had that exposure. They don't have the exposure. People who travel should have some kind of exposure, but you're not going to get those exposure if you spend more of the time recording with the device. You need to immerse.
Okay. Understood. Since we already come to the topic of the builders, right? So I also have a few questions like in terms like talent development and the futures leader development. Like how do you actually identify and also nurtures the talents that amongst your employees? First and foremost, you start with identifications. Like how do you identify them? Is it they are the exceptional candidates or they are really outstanding in terms of their performance?
Identify for what?
I don't know, their exceptional abilities or capabilities.
Before I get there, just now we talk about different types of leadership.
Yep.
One of the things that you need to know is that learn all of them, observe all of them, and whatever that you observe, always remember, yeah, that person is visionary because of this. Or I think this person is a transformer because of this. Learn all of this. It's very difficult to find a person to be able to do only one type of leadership. Because if you can only do that, your future job employment is going to be very, very small. Why? They can only hire you because you can only do that. Okay. So I'm from the school of jack of all trades, master of none. So you learn everything and then you will see okay, which type of style you can use in different roles. And this is what we call multitasking. The task in multitasking is not doing work, but actually even your style, the way you think, the way you speak, and the way you act, what you do. So there are reasons for all that to all come together. Now, when it comes to hiring people, it depends why you hire the person. That's why I ask for what. I have been hired to do a job. It's a short-term job. Example, hired to fire means you have 300 people in that company. You need to downsize, and I was hired to downsize it to 180.
Why you are being hired?
You cannot hire a leader that is democratic, that is very, very nice, that's very sociable. That leader will never lead and will never be able to do the job. Okay? So the whatever attributes that you're looking for in hiring someone, number one mistake would be I hired because I need to fill up a vacancy. If you do that, you will never end interviewing people and then seeing people go because you know why? You don't know what you want, and the person who you hire do not know what is expected of them. People perform based on how they are being judged. So, in order to be able to tell someone, you will be judged on this, and I expect this from you, and in return, I'll pay you remuneration, right? You need some form of leadership to convey that. So, if you have a tough guy, maybe ex-army guy, and then you want him to be in charge of customer service, you will have more complaints in that place for sure.
Definitely.
Number one, no one will dare complain anymore. But in the grapevine, you will hear that your hotel, oh, that guy in customer service is horrible, it's so regimental, and it's a nightmare to work with. So it is not just the candidate, that leaders who is doing this has to put the relevant hats on, whether democratic, transformative, I don't know what else, being the master of what, and you have builders and so on. So you need to wear different kind of hats. But at least it's what I think.
Have you ever successfully nurtured young leaders like you?
Have I ever mentored someone
Yep. Or you
to be,
successfully nurtured or developed someone to be
well,
like you?
hopefully not like me, because if it is just like me, then I think I limited them. It should be better than me. I think that'd be that'll be pure happiness, moment of happiness when you see someone that you mentor is doing greater than you. Yeah, I have a few people in mind. Number of them are in Vietnam, but they are not working in Vietnam right now. They are expats on their own in their own rights. Two of them working in Dubai, two in USA, and one in Japan. Now, um, I cannot pinpoint exactly as to what did I do to them that make them
Yep.
who they are today, or my small contribution to that makes them whatever success that they have nowadays. For that, you need to interview them.
Sure.
But I probably can safely say, whatever success you want to achieve, you must accept that there are some form of discipline that you need to get into. I give you an example. We all perform based on how we are judged. So same thing as well. Our expectation on someone else's performance is based on how we judge them. So and it goes down from top to bottom. It's their thoughts, their deeds, and their words. So in thought, words, and deeds, all this must gel. So if I give any advice to them, probably this. I'll tell them, you observe these three things. If there's some area will gel. There was some area you will notice that what he says is not what he does. The deeds and the words doesn't seem to gel together. That part put aside. But you look at whatever that gels together and has been consistent, that is their leadership style. And think of it of how would I use that style and in what situation with whom. And if you always have this discipline of exercising this kind of thoughts all the time with different people, different style, and so on, look, after a couple of years, you have the freedom of choice, the option to decide which hat am I going to wear in this situation. Otherwise, it's just textbook or whatever Google say. It will never be part of you. You need to observe and do. And sometimes reading or studying it does not make sense, but it will start making sense when you try it.
Yep. We have to practice it until you perfect.
Not practice, try it, do it,
Experience.
experience it. And then from there, you face a lot of, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that, or probably should have done that. I think my train of thoughts was wrong. that is taking ownership. And you cause a lot of injustice to yourself if you just let it go. Yeah, my bad. You shouldn't. What you should take away is what lessons could I've taken away to improve.
Yeah.
For example, I probably would say, oh, using that style of leadership didn't work out very well. Maybe if I use this style, it would have changed. That is why you'll see, uh, as you probably can tell, I'm a fan of Elon Musk. Elon Musk was a quiet person all this while. And then suddenly, in 2 months ago, he suddenly, you know, I mean, he bought the former Twitter called
Yep.
X nowadays. He bought it 2 years ago. Usually was silent. The only time he appears, okay, in some court cases, But recently, in the last 2 months, he suddenly quiet. It's not because he lost that visionary uh, leadership style. He's applying transformation. So now I have this: how do I transform things around it that will make it even stronger? And he found out that his engagement with stakeholders will help transform how people view X to be X and not as the former Twitter. That is why I get so much engagement. So, yeah, but Elon Musk would not have that luxury of doing that if he only knows one leadership style. The person never changed. It's the same person, same train of thoughts, same vision, but approach to things using a different style.
Based on what I understand from your explanations, a successful leader, they should really adopt to different leadership styles, right? To manage different kind of situations. But among all these leadership styles, right, there must be one that is most prominent inside you. Which style that do you think you have from the within?
For me, it's still very much builder.
Further.
I'm. I think I would be a terrible president of a country or prime minister of a country. I probably can tell you, as a deputy, I can do way way better. I perform better. So that is why, probably because of past experience. Also, some people have told me, you are the general manager. Why you behave? Again, thoughts, your words, and your deeds. Right? It must gel. One thing that doesn't gel was, while I was general manager, I was behaving like an assistant to a general manager. Yeah. So was that a bad thing? Hard to say because it was transformative at the time. And why do I do that? Because I need to build that expectation of the general manager, what it should be. Not, I don't want people to say, okay, you are a general manager because you behave exactly the same as the previous general manager. So I behave differently because I want the people that I work with tell me what I should be able to contribute in your job. So I'm going down to their level, right? So why? Because I want to build a different expectation of the general manager. I want to build the people to be able to see that, yeah, well, what if you have this kind of person? Can that person be a general manager too? That if it works for the purpose of the business, yeah, I redefine general manager for them. So is it transformative? Yes, it is. But it cannot be transformative just because I am a transformer.
Yep.
You need to build first.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Such a nice solution. Okay. Then, okay, since you have been in the positions of general managers in the past experience, then have you ever encountered that a really, really difficult employee to handle? And how do you manage and handle them?
Ooh, yes. And difficult people are not usually, they are not born difficult. They are not the kind of people who, as soon as they wake up every day, the total objective of the day is to be a pain to someone else. Bulk bulk of the difficult people I meet in hospitality and tourism are actually clients. Yeah. And but it's not so much within the company itself, but you still have difficult people. And again, they are all difficult, but they are difficult for different reasons. More often than not, from a client's point of view, when they become difficult, more often than not, is because they don't feel recognized. And the first step to feel that they are being recognized is someone listen them out. And it's not a challenge nowadays. I mean, it is a challenge nowadays, but to get someone to listen to a complaining customer. Why? Because they're so tempted to say something.
Yep.
They want to answer, they want to explain, they want to justify, and things like that. But you do yourself a lot of favor by just let your client vent it all out. Because sooner or later, they have to stop and breathe, right? And then ask questions. Ask a lot of questions. Let them talk. You will come to a point where you will realize the reason they're angry is not because their coffee is cold or the ice cream has melted or the room is not so nice. Reason they it could be other reason, like say for example, just someone smile. It sounds ridiculous if they complain starting with that. Like the complaint starting with something tangible, and if you're smart enough to handle, okay, let's put the tangible part there. What exactly it is. So does it mean this? Does it mean that? You find more often than not, there's something intangible that they have not received. That is from the clients, from colleagues, from employees. I love this part because half of the difficult people I face
It's from them.
no, it's interesting. Why? Because they try to push the envelope. They want to push and see how far can you go with something. Especially in my case, most of my colleagues would have said, "Yeah, he's won't say avant-garde, but he's crazy. He's willing to try something that's super crazy, and sometimes we're not even sure whether it's legal or not. You know?
The innovator.
Yeah, probably. And then that whole exercise, that whole stress where you get pushed. Are you sure you want to go that far? And they're like, come on, just bear with me, do me, trust me. Yeah, we trusted you the last time, you know? So it goes like that. And you find that they are difficult because you say they are not supporting you. I don't see it that way. I find them difficult because they are, whether they know it or not, they're challenging me. Is that, have you thought this through? Are you sure you want to go with this? And things like that. Sometimes, for example, they say mean things in a meeting, and our answer is that things like you did not just say that, because that is where I know we're trying to push the envelope. No one planned to push each other to be the better of us, right? But because of that push, that conflict, more often than not, we'll end up in a better place. Because you know why? The same scenario that will visit us again next month, next year, we would behave differently. We will act differently because we know what we could do, what we can't do. The other half of difficult people among your colleagues and things like that is this. They're not happy with their job. And not happy with the job, I don't know why. More often than not, it's nothing to do with the job. Probably it could be something from home. I come from a generation where you don't bring your problems from home to the place of work. Likewise, the problem that you face at work, you don't bring them home. Right? But nowadays, everyone wants to feel they're very transparent, very open. So there's no more boundaries. Everything flows all over the place. Um, Sometimes I myself get caught speechless because people bring problems into the workplace and they're not happy with the workplace for either responding in a way that they don't like or not responding at all because it's nothing to do with work. For example, I'm late to work because I need to bring my sister to the bus stop. And you go like, what? What do I do with that as your boss, right? So what do I do with that? That a lot of young people get offended because whatever they expressed out, whatever they shared, is not being appreciated or is I mean we don't know what to do with that. They get offended by that. So that is also another kind of difficulty to handle.
I see. Based on what you explained, I think the first step that you mentioned, the typical person is like a devil advocate, right? They play the role of devil
Correct.
advocate.
Yeah.
They actually,
But don't tell them that because when you do tell them that, you give them license to push it even further.
because they thought that they are contributing.
Hey,
The second type is more toward they don't know how to draw the line on the sand, write the boundaries. They try to bring over the problems or the pressures or the stress from
yeah,
their home to the workplace.
it's not an individual thing. It's a social thing. Um, how to say? There used to be unseen boundaries, or at least to people who are very assertive. They will tell another person, listen, that is a line I won't cross. That I will not do. For example, I will work with the company. I'll do my best, okay, but I'm not gonna die with the company. Can you imagine me going to Russia, Moscow, to meet a client to collect payment? And this is in Moscow, in the dead of it's a dead of winter that time. It was in February, and here I was supposed to collect 160,000 ringgit from one agent. The agent said, "Yeah, the accountant is not here." I said, "I can wait because I can't leave until I collect this payment because I work my best for my company." By 5 p.m. that afternoon, that same person told me, "Here, have some vodka." I said, "Okay, it's 5. I suppose I can drink." And while I was drinking, he said, "We owe you 160,000 ringgit." I don't even know how much is that in US dollars. I can tell you it's cheaper to hire someone just to shoot you. Look, I'm not gonna die for the company. I walk out of there. Right? So there are boundaries. Nowadays, we don't like boundaries. Younger generation, they like to be open, and then at the same time, they want to tell you, I'm an introvert, don't get into my area. So that makes it very, very difficult. Yeah. So you want to help, but there's only so much that you can do because why? Doing more offends them too. Because they will say, oh, you're enabling my weakness by helping. So that makes it difficult. I don't know. Maybe in the next 10 years, it's not going to be my problem because I will not be in the workforce, right? So that is future leaders' problem.
That's such a great insight, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably I think too much.
By asking them to do more, you are exposing them for their weakness.
Correct. And then by exposing them, you're enabling them being weak.
Yeah. Which means they are not daring to be vulnerable. Yeah. I see. Okay.
You know, the word vulnerable, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's just very interesting. Again, false friends. I call them false friends. They are words that we think we know what it means. That 50 years ago, vulnerable just basically means that you are not just psychologically insecure. You are at a state where anything can go wrong anytime. Thanks to American social media, vulnerable basically means just expose whatever problems and weaknesses that you have so that people can feel sorry for you and do something for you so that they can feel good. You see it
Yeah.
in reality shows and things like that. It's amazing. 50 years ago, it's a different meaning altogether.
Yeah. But recently, actually, I heard from TED Talks. I'm not sure you know who is she. Britney Brown is actually a researcher, scientist to investigate on all these neuropsychologies.
Right.
So he explains vulnerabilities in a very good term, which means that if you are not ready to share some things to others, please don't share it because the genuine meanings of vulnerability means what you share, what others people respond to it will not affect your emotion or your response. Which means it's like a gift that you give to others people, but then their response on your act will not affect your emotions. That's called the genuine vulnerability. This is what I learned from her.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just take your word for it because for one, I don't know her. Number two is that this lot you watch out for words that is either two syllable or four syllable. Most of the time, they mean something else 20 years ago or 40 years ago. And then here's the thing. We get some people got famous because they redefine it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all you need is attend TED Talks. Give a talk at TED Talks. You can define whatever you want. And the world is supposed to follow you.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, by the time it gets to this part of the world, it could be years down the road. So please reaching out.
Good. Glad to know that from you also. The definitions of vulnerability.
Yeah.
Okay. There's one more categories that I would like to ask is more towards like leaderships beyond workplace. Like how has your leaderships um, in the workplace influenced your personal life?
Okay. Number one, you cannot be a leader all the time. I'm not talking about just the workplace, your life. You cannot be a lead. You cannot be leader all the time. Some people say, "Oh, if you're a born leader, you always lead." It's not true. You can lead. Believe me, you can lead by delegation.
I agree with that.
You can delegate.
Yep.
How do you know you're still the leader? It's because you have not advocate. Means you still check. This is the clash that we have nowadays. In the past, it's like if I delegate something to you, I will still check on that subject with you from time to time because I delegate. I do not relegate. I do not abdicate this whole thing. But nowadays, there's always the expectation of whatever is given to someone, you abdicate. Means you've given to me, let me do whatever I want to do with it. You don't get to question me, right? So that is where that needs to be communicated, whether in the workplace or outside in the workplace. Example, honey, I let you use the car. It doesn't mean it's your car that you can go and pimp the ride. Change the color to pink and polka dot yellow, right? So there must be some kind of communication. So do I delegate or do I delegate?
Empowerment.
Yeah. So yeah. So this is where that communication is key. Uh, the whole world have made an ass out of itself because they keep assuming how things are supposed to be.
Yep.
And the definition of how the two of you communicate is always defined by social media, not between yourself. So
Yep.
when I say cookie cutter, that's the magic word that I need help. So no one is going to tell me what cookie cutter means because that's between us. So this is where that communication needs to come into play. Same place in work. I give nobody at work like to ask for help, even though they're drowning in blood. Nobody's gonna I'm on ground. I cannot do all this work. I cannot finish all these assignments. You know, I'm not even worried about not meeting my KPI. I do not even know whether I'm sane enough to last until end of the month where I get my paycheck. There are situations like that. Nobody likes to ask for help. But what do? We tell them, hey, if you are in that situation, you're desperate, you need help, reach out. Boy, do I hate those keywords. I always tell my team, give me a word that you don't normally use. One of them was cookie cutter, which is not me, but it's given by someone else. And then another one is amazing. It is durian. Why just use a word? Because if you mouth it to me, I can't hear it from far away. You mouth it, I know you need help. It was the first step of, okay, what area do you need me to help? That's one. But it must come with this condition. I got to tell you which area that needs to be attended first. I will help. Okay,
Which means you define the priority for them.
correct. So that is why I'm a better builder.
Yeah.
So it, it it's not only at work. I mean, you can apply that with your friends. I mean, close friends, not everybody. Your close
Even
friends,
spouse.
even spouses. You must have a safe word that crying for help does not mean you are weak.
Yeah.
You need a time out. You need. And I have mine too, you know. And my boss,
What's your?
huh?
What's yours?
I got a holy cheese.
Holy cheese.
Yeah. So uh, there's no such thing as holy cheese anymore. It's just word that I just made up
Yeah.
because my boss was French. When I say fromage royal, he immediately knew I know
You need help.
I need help. I need time. Yeah. But I said it in French. No.
But it's fine. Interesting. Really interesting. Okay. Before we end our meaningful conversations, best three advices for the future's leaders, for our future generations.
Okay. Future leaders, I'm not too sure. Future generation for sure. Some people say we're not born leaders, right? Yeah, you're right. Nobody's born leader. Leadership is what you made it out for yourself. Okay. So number one, don't be a leader of only one type. It's useless. Okay. Don't choose to be Bill Gates at a young age, and then hopefully that you will end up as Bill Gates.
I agree.
Right? So it doesn't work. Bulk of the people who go and study a certain major never end up working in that field anyway.
Uh,
So don't limit yourself. So instead, read the different kind. Again, number one, you need to read. You need to find out. I mean, look, if you don't like to read text, there are videos out there. Read a different style of management. And whatever label that people give it to you, use a label that you can remember. Okay? That's number one. Immerse yourself in that info. The step two would be observe. You observe, you see your colleagues. Remember, the leader in your relationship, in your transactions with your colleagues or your bosses or your downline, the leader is not necessarily the one at the top. Could be among one of you choose to be, I don't know, it just happened to be a leader in a certain assignment, a certain kind of work, or a leader in a certain work process to get things done. Observe their thoughts, their words, and their deeds. For goodness sake, write it down. You have a phone. They are not meant to take just food pictures. You can write notes in them. Give that person a label, whether visionary or whatever, or teddy bear, right? And then think, what did the person think, or what did the person say, what the person do? And if you're lucky, you can also hear the person say, I think it's this, record it down and say, and then ask yourself, could I use this kind of thinking thoughts process, the word that they string together, and then the action that they actually lay out? If this is something I can do, it's like, yeah, I can learn this kind of leadership. Then the next question is to ask, okay, when would I apply this kind of situation? Try to record that situation itself. Then you remember. That is one. When you repeat the same style on different people, different places, you start to master that one leadership style. Now, multiply that across another 7. Then you can get as more as possible. That is only the first advice. The second advice is this. If you have ever heard or felt the urge of, I need to find myself, okay, listen to me and listen clearly. You are not lost to begin with. So there's nothing to find, okay? You are young, go and learn and observe as much as you can. Don't become Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Clinton at your age.
Dream big, don't dream badly.
Correct. You know, don't become like them. Some people say you fake it till you make it, right? So you start to dress, and even talk, and even behave like some leaders idol or leaders celebrity that you know of. It's like, you know what? I can tell you this. You're still fake, you know. You just copy. Don't meet your leaders. Because when you meet them, you'll be very, very disappointed. Why? They did not become successful because when they were at your age, they woke up one day and decide, I'm gonna find myself. No. They get their nose, their elbows dirty by doing what they have to do to get there. So all this um, there's always this thing that people always say, you must find your dream, find your heart, follow your heart. Look, my feet can lead me better than my heart. It can bring me places. My heart only gives me anxiety. You know, so walk the walk, talk the talk. The second. And then third, you must know that you have to know this. Being a builder style of leadership sounds like is the lowest in the ranking of leadership. And visionary is always the topmost
Yeah.
leadership. The reason you think this way is because of the money these people earn. I am quite sure Elon Musk is probably would like to live a day of my life being a builder because he can't do it. Like same thing, I can put together all this device to make a video, right? But yet you invite me to lead on the topic of leadership, right? But I would be I would feel that I would be more useful if I would have learned how to put together all this device to make a video. When you tell me use a software to remove noise from a video, that just flew over my head. Right? So no, it's not. That line is just that it's a single line because purposely a single line because you're supposed to learn all of them. It's like a badge of honor. It's like you learn all and snap to your own badge of honor as much as you can. Because you know why? At any point of my life, right, I do know the chances of being hired for one leadership style is as good as none. Because as the world get more competitive, right? People want to pay you one salary but able to do two things. Hey, I have more than one style of leadership. So give what scenarios you have, I would survive better and perform better than the one who has only one.
Impeccable advice.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
most welcome. I hope I'm useful to you. You have to teach
Definitely.
me how to do this.
Sure. I will be the first one to share this with you. Don't worry.